Alright, we have JFK here. He's going to show us how to solder motor and a bullet on speed control. You ready? Alright,
so the first thing you want to do is you want to get everything cleaned up.
Okay, how you get everything cleaned up?
Basically, you just...
I don't know how to solder. I mash my stuff. Mine's black.
Most important thing is always have a clean soldering tip.
Oh, okay.
And you always want to tin everything. Inside here is a little bit of flux and solder. Just keep that clean. A little sponge with a little bit of water on it.
Okay.
You just take your wire off. Make sure your tabs are tinned up so it's nice and clean. It's a nice McLand motor. Little product placement right there.
My battery was different.
So, we all know that we have our speed controllers. You've got to be careful. You got A, B, and C,
right.
And then you have your power leads. So,
right.
I tend to like to work away from myself.
Okay.
So, taking you go, you bring your wire, figure out about how much you want to make it.
Okay.
So, you take that. A set of flush cutters work really nice.
Okay.
69.
And down. Cut it off.
Right.
That's probably pretty obvious, right? I like to use a hobby knife. Just about that much wire. You don't want to go crazy with a lot of wire hanging off.
Right.
The more wire you have hanging off, the more chance you have of it breaking. This soldering, obviously, this kind of what happens with it is it's going to make the wire stiff. You know, anytime you got any kind of metal stiff, it wants to break. So let's take the hobby knife. It makes a nice cut, nice and clean. Expose your wires. This gentleman here, a friend of ours, solder wasn't all that great, so we figured we'd hook it up for him. So you're just going to take a little bit of solder on your iron. Now the big thing is, I'll get it started with the iron, but you want the wire to melt your solder, so it's nice and tinned. Let's take a simple pair of pliers. Zoom in. I'll just turn it a little bit. A little more solder here because of the flux, make it flow. You want it on the tab as short a time as possible, and never blow on the solder because it'll make a cold solder joint. And those are the ones that always fail on you. We got that one nice. Just kind of come across. This one here. We're just going to repeat this process a couple more times. And this all just takes practice. The most important thing with soldering, and it's most like with most stuff, it's all the preparation. So you're taking...
I change them every time.
I like to just nibble at it a little bit. I don't want too much coming off, and just makes a mess. And the neater you do your wiring, and the neater you do your soldering, it's going to be so much easier later when you want to take and diagnose a problem. You see, I started it just to get the flux flowing, and now I'm going to get it flowing on the wire itself.
Get your tattoo, dude.
Keep my tip clean at all times.
God made me.
Take a little bit on here.
Okay, tell him fuck you, because he's not coming to support us in our race. Fuck off.
All right. Tony Stewart pays more.
Yeah. You gotta work tomorrow.
17.9.
Chairman, only one. You gotta wait before work tomorrow. Yeah.
18 days.
That's work. You get 15.
18.5.
Like 130. If I raced oval and I raced off road, and one was paying for me to go, and the other was I would do the one that's paying me for me to go.
What I like to use, this is a little what I do. I like to use a 60-40 solder. It just tends to flow a little bit better. Not all places do it. Any solder will really work as long as it's a flux core. You don't want to use a plumbing solder, which is a straight solder. It's not going to flow right. You're not going to get good. It's not going to tin real well. It's going to be a poor joint.
You don't want too small of a tip on your iron.
Yeah, you want to have a nice square tip like that. Unless you're doing something fine, then it's quite obvious. And I do have fine tips. But,
26.1.
Who's all going to Buffalo now? Yep.
19.3.
Okay, I'm going home.
25.6.
Yeah, that is
just to look at it, you see how it's got a nice shine to it, and it's not like really dull. Usually when you have a dull finish to your solder, it's typically a sign that it's a cold solder joint. So that's how we do the motor wires. We're going to put this one aside.
Can we do the bullets tomorrow? I got to charge this battery. My camera's back.
That's cool, man.
So, what's your name?
Jay Kennedy,
Okay.
Land Racing.
Okay. Oh, don't forget the oil.
Huh?
The oil.
Oh yeah, I don't have it with me right now, so it's not a really good plug, but Extreme Lube,
Okay.
you can find it at Hobby Squared. Extremely good stuff. It's the nice part about it is the dry lube, so it doesn't have that sticky, gummy viscosity that a normal oil would, a good bearing oil. So check it out.
All right. Thank you, JFK.
Thanks.